Welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and this morning we're visiting with Kristin Hildabrand, Warren County Extension Agent for Horticulture. Now, Kristin, today we're going to talk about these beautiful blooms that we've seen all month long. What are those?
Right now we're seeing two really magnificent blooms. We're seeing white blooms from our downy serviceberry or serviceberry, and we're also seeing a lot of red buds right now. And so they're both native to Kentucky, and so with those native plants, they do better here in Kentucky because they're acclimated to our climate and our soil types. And so a lot of times people want to have natives for that reason. They're easier to care for. And then the other reason that they may find with both of these is that they provide a lot of wildlife to a lot of our butterflies and other native wildlife too. So those are two great things that they provide, because we actually have them planted here at the Extension office, and they have provided a lot of seasonal color right now, and they're going to do so in the other seasons too. But the first one that really comes true first is the downy serviceberry. And when you first hear serviceberry, a lot of times, like back in the day, they had these during funeral services. Whenever they would first come out in the spring, a lot of times it would signal to them that they could actually do funeral services. So that was kind of some of the indicators back in the day. But it is actually from the rose family, and so it has a really nice bloom. It's white, has actually have 5 petals, and then it's very attractive for this time of year. A lot of bees and pollinators will flock to it because it's one of the earlier blooming ones that we have. And then in the summer months of the year, Joanna, it's going to look nice and green, and then eventually a little bit before June, it's going to start to form the fruit, and that's what the birds really enjoy, that wildlife. And so it's going to start as green fruit, and then it's eventually going to look more purple in color, almost black, like when it's ripe. Because it's in the rose family, it is a little bit more susceptible to some of the rose diseases. A lot of times we have it as a tree, but it can also be a multi-trunk shrub type interest. So a lot of times you may have to do some pruning because it oftentimes wants to do that. But on all 4 corners here at the Extension office, we have it planted, and 2, we're providing that source for our pollinators and other wildlife like the birds.
How big of a tree is this serviceberry tree?
I'm glad you asked that, because this is a tree that likes the smaller side. So it's like a 15-foot tree. So actually it's really good for homeowners in the residential area that want to have a smaller tree. A lot of times we'll put it in the front, so that way it, to the public view, it looks really good, and again, it blooms pretty early. Generally, after the serviceberry it blooms really fast and it matures really quickly. Then generally we start to see the Cercis canadensis, which is our redbud. It's gonna start to really take on, and I think when you got to look a little closer at the tree itself, the blooms are really spectacular. They're supposed to be more of like a pea size flower, and so a lot of times they can be rose pink to purple. It really just depends on your cultivar that you have. Here we have the pansy type of cultivar, so it's really pretty, but a lot of times you can find it in multiple colors of interest, but it even blooms right along the bark of the tree. So generally where you wouldn't see some other interest with some of the trees, that one is just really pretty. What I also like about the canadensis or the redbud is that it has the heart-shaped leaf to it. So I love that part about it. It's really pretty. That cordate leaf shape is super pretty, and so it's just very attractive all throughout the year.
Is it easy to care for?
It generally is really easy to care for. You will, like when you start to establish it, if it's new, kind of a younger plant, you'll have to make sure you water it, but most often both of these trees will be fairly easy to grow because they're native to the area.
And they have that spectacular color first thing in the spring. Do they provide any other sort of color throughout the season?
Generally not. I mean, the redbud, I will say, I forgot to mention with the serviceberry, it does have some fall color generally, depending on your cultivar there. It's either yellow or it can be more of a reddish tinge color. So both of those could give you a different kind of color with the foliage that it provides. But both of these are really good options. We have 2 really good fact sheets on both of these spring blooming trees. So if you have questions, want more information about it, there's a little bit more information on these fact sheets specifically about the cultivars that you can look at.
And a lot of times we don't think about it until we see the color, but now's actually a great time to plant these trees.
Fall is another great time.
We appreciate you watching the Farm and Home Show, and we'll see you next time.